Hello, everyone.
Hey, bag ladies and bag dudes. I'm Sara Lawson. This is my husband, Danny, and you're watching Ask Sara, my weekly Q&A chat. Yes, Violet is still on the job. If you watched our show, what was it, last week? We had a little bit of technical difficulties with the live show because of Violet, but she started the show okay this week, so good job, Violet. Hello to Andrea watching from Michigan, Sue Ellen from New York. So thank you everybody so much for watching our show. We're really excited to be here today. I had talked on Sunday about my riding lessons and getting a private workout regimen from Karen, who watches the show. And I'd like to report that my riding lesson today went really, really well. I'm executing much better posture, and as I'm sitting here, I'm trying to tighten up my core and sit up straight. So trying to be really conscious in everyday life, even walking around, having good posture and not slouching, which is what I'm normally used to, even sitting down. My workout ball came today. I ordered an extra large workout ball so that I could sit at my desk on the workout ball instead of my normal chair, because otherwise I would be sitting like this. So I'm not saying all my problems are solved as far as riding goes, but definitely much better. And my trainer said, whoever gave you the strength training really knows her stuff, because I can see you're doing so much better. So thanks, Karen, if you're watching. I have a quick question before we get into sewing related things, but while I was eating dinner earlier, I got a new cookbook, the Skinny Taste cookbook. It's the third one that I have. The author has a blog and a website called Skinny Taste, and I really like her recipes, and I feel like they sort of fit my style as far as the things that I like to eat. But a chapter in the cookbook is dedicated to the air fryer, and I was like, what's an air fryer? It sounds really interesting, being able to fry food without using any kind of oil, which I know is really bad for you. We have a neighbor that suffered some heart issues earlier this year, and he said his doctor actually recommended him not to have anything with any kind of oil at all. So I don't know anything about an air fryer, but I'm thinking maybe Black Friday coming up. Should I be looking for an air fryer? Let me know in the comments. I know this is not sewing related, but I'm super curious about the air fryer. I want to know if it's good, if it's something that I should get. In case you've missed our recent live shows, my birthday's coming up on November 28th. In case you'd like to send a postcard, it's completely optional, but I would love to have a postcard from where you're from. The address to send the postcard, in case you're interested, is in the description. And I just stopped at my postal box right before the show and picked up some postcards that came in. So I'm just going to flip through some of them. Oh, I want to show you the edible birthday card first. This is from Lily in Hawaii. She sent me some goodies.
Can't wait to try this one.
She sent me some toffee-coated macadamia nuts covered in luscious milk chocolate. Again, this is from Lily. Thank you, Lily. I love toffee. Heath Bar is one of my favorite candy bars. I always get it when we go to
Every
Culver's.
single time, just about, yeah.
We get sort of like a mix-in. It's like ice cream mixed with candy. I usually always get toffee, Heath Bar. Nancy and her husband double-teamed this birthday gift. It says so much fabric, so little time, and these are actually all tiny little bolts of fabric,
really
and there's
cool.
little spools of thread, and of course the buttons. So these are really cool. I don't know if it comes through on camera, but like the bolts of fabric are super awesome. So thank you, Nancy and hubby. And
I love it's like a 3D picture, you know.
Yeah, it's really
Very
cool. I
cool.
can't wait to hang it in the sewing room. And I actually got a fabric postcard today. Merlin made, I don't want to show any addresses on the back of the card, but this is an actual front and back fabric postcard. She wrote in, I don't know if that's permanent marker or what on the back, and the stamp actually is on the fabric, and she made a little stamp out of fabric also, which I can't show you because her address is on the back. But we got some
Why can't you
really
just go
cool.
like this?
I guess so. Okay. I like how you're covering my face. I'm sure that was
Accidental, I
intentional.
promise.
So some really cool postcards. Me and Violet were looking through them before. I love this potato postcard. So thanks so much. Like I really enjoy
We're growing big in
these.
Idaho, it says.
Yeah. I really enjoyed looking through the cards and the postcards. And by the way, like if you can't find a postcard where you're from, I know some small towns might not have postcards, but I received some photograph postcards. People printed off photographs from where they're from, so that was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I just like to add these to my collection, and here's one that was a printed photograph, so that was really cool.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm going to add these postcards to the box. Ed and Robin, who make our acrylic templates, made this wooden house box for the postcards, so those are all going to go inside there. So thank you, everybody, so much for sending postcards. Oh, that's how one. I'll have to adjust that later.
That will have to go in last. Put on the roof.
All right, so on Tuesday, Danny's second favorite part of the show. If you'll let us know by typing in the comments, either on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and type Bag Lady or Bag Dude right now. We love seeing the stream of Bag Ladies and Bag Dudes come through in the comments, because I can see the comments too on Danny's laptop, and we really appreciate the support of the bag making community online.
100%.
So thank you so much for watching our shows and participating, whether you're participating in the Facebook group, whether you just watch at home and send me an occasional email. We really love the support, so thank you very much. I had an idea today, because I always get these crazy ideas. Sarah Algren emailed me this morning, and Sarah watches the shows, and she's also local to the Chicago area, so we've met in person a few times, and Sarah sent me an email with a picture of sort of a block of the month that she's joining at Thimbles, which is a shop in the Chicago area, and it's sort of I think they called it a club. So the club meets once a month, and you get the next pattern when you come that month to the club, and they serve refreshments, and you share your progress. So like last month's block pattern, everybody can show their progress, or if you haven't caught up, obviously you can still come to the meeting. I haven't told you about this yet, but...
Big surprise. I love hearing like third hand, like through another conversation, like eavesdropping all the time. Like, Sarah, what's going on? No, that's not me on the phone.
Anyway, Sarah's idea, while it was quilt related and for a block of the month, it got my wheels turning. And I thought it would be really cool, since we have the State and Country Soul Sweetness groups, and a lot of them sound like they're really active. I thought in the new year it would be really cool to have some sort of club where we can meet up on a certain day every month and sort of like live stream and talk to people that are having meetups, like, but at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So like kind of like what we did for First Friday.
But it's only when the groups are meeting up.
But with the meetups and giving away prizes.
That's a lot of get stuff going on.
Giving away prizes. Well,
I love giving away stuff, so you got me at there.
I don't know. I have to think this idea through more, but I thought it would be really cool to have some sort of meetup thing where we can have a live stream. What if
no one's meeting up that time, though?
I'm sure we could get at least a few groups to meet up. I don't know.
Maybe solo group meetups, and just like, oh, prizes out. 5 people, like, yeah, I'm the only person showed up, so.
No, I thought it would be cool, like, say if
I like the chances of winning.
20 different states or countries had meetups on the same day and same time, we could live stream. And then
that's a lot.
We can give away a prize, like a gift certificate for each group that meets with us, not just one, just every single group. I thought it would be really cool. I don't know. Maybe some new projects, like for the club idea, have new projects, give new projects at the meetups. I don't know.
You have all the groups at one time on the show? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I was thinking, yeah. I could see you're like,
I just know from the calls, like, the quality control issues are going to be...
All right, so we'll think this through some more. I finally started prepping my pieces for the Kennedy bag.
Before you go on to the Kennedy bag, here's what's going to happen. Sarah's like, I already told them we're going to do this, so find a way to make it work. That's what's going to happen.
Yes, that's it. That's the idea. We're going to be filming the Kennedy bag video this week. It's going to be a free video to go along with the free Kennedy bag pattern. I'm assuming we can have that done for them for next week.
I'm ready to shoot tomorrow. It's up to you.
Well, the kids are off school tomorrow because it's report card pickup day. My idea is Thursday we'll film the video. Thanksgiving in the United States is next week, so I know not everyone is in the United States, but it would be a really cool Thanksgiving present to release the video early next week before Thanksgiving.
I'll have it ready Thursday night.
Because I know a lot of people have a long weekend next week because of Thanksgiving, so how fun would it be to have that video out before Thanksgiving? So if people wanted to make the Kennedy bag
by Friday.
By Friday? Okay, fine.
Yep.
If you're game
people
for that.
want to go shopping and get their stuff for it for the weekend, since they have a long week off.
Okay.
I'll have it edited the same night.
Okay.
I promise.
All right, so let's get on to your pick of the week. Well, I tried
3, 2, 1, lift off. I saw this really cool ... dash bag in the group, and I knew right away this was the one because it says, for the geeks out there, I'm a little bit of a geek or something. I am definitely a geek, and I saw the interior, and I'm like sold. It's got the chemistry chart in the back for different stuff, the beakers, the Bunsen burner, really cool stuff. Awesome fabric, great fussy cutting, and
do you want to say who made it?
It was Janelle.
Mm-hmm.
Janelle Notter. And I loved it. I was 2 thumbs up.
So the Dot Dot Dash Bag Sew Along, which is co-hosted by Michelle Graham and Bronwyn, is finishing up this week in the Facebook group. So if you haven't finished your bag yet, there's still plenty of time to finish. And it's really cool seeing all the finished versions come through in the Facebook group. Lots of really, so unique. Every bag is so different. So it's been really cool to see that.
I wanted to see a Kennedy bag. I've seen multiple people mention it, but I don't think we have one available.
It is in the basement right now. So,
yep.
But if we're going to have the video done on Friday, just a couple more days to wait, and then you can see it.
I'm sure if you just do Kennedy bag and Sew Sweetness Google search, you'll have bags pop up.
I actually reworked the pattern pieces this morning. Not that I changed the pattern pieces, but that pattern was from 2013, so I reworked the pattern pieces to have different cutouts for if you're using leather or cork, which I'm going to use cork on my accents and straps, so I wanted to make sure I had that updated, and yeah, really excited about filming that video. All right, if you enjoy our live shows, if you enjoy our sewing tutorials or our full-length bag making videos, if you're watching on Facebook, we'd like to invite you to hit the share button, share this video with your other sewing friends, and regardless, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, if you could at least hit the like button, which is the little picture of the thumbs up. The likes and shares really help us out so much.
And subscribing on YouTube. I don't know if you mentioned that, but I don't think you normally do.
Yeah, I normally focus on the likes because it really doesn't take much effort at all to just hit the like button. It's really easy. I know I forget to do it sometimes too when I watch videos on YouTube, but yeah, we really appreciate the support, and thank you so much for doing that. We had problems earlier today with our internet and the technology. Normally before the show starts, Danny and I watch the comments come through on the screen, but Danny was really hustling because he had some problems with his software that we use for the streaming. So like 20 minutes before the show, he was frantic about that, and Violet came in the room and he's like, guys, you got to be quiet because I'm focusing on this. And I can't criticize that because I get the same way when
It's been a long day. First, she didn't mention that our internet was like down. And I'm calling the AT&T. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? We have show night. Let's get this going. I'm on 2 hours of phone support. No results. Still having an issue. Then I'm just messing around, like trying to figure out what's going on, resetting this, that, and this. And I find out if we use Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, and as soon as we launch Facebook, our internet just gets dumped on. And it's for both our computers. As soon as that Facebook launches, that instantly our internet just goes to nothing, and you have to restart the computer, then it starts on again. Because I noticed that when I was testing, that was one of the pages we were checking on was Facebook, and it would just boom, internet was like down. I'm like, oh man, we might have to cancel the show because we don't have enough speed to stream. And when I figured out it was the problem site, I'm like, we just got to stay away from Facebook for now. But luckily, I logged in through another way to schedule the show. Right now, we don't have it open through our normal means. But luckily it's working. But yeah, it's been a long day, and then I found out the other problem with the software. I was like, man. Kids like, can we get on the computer yet? Can we use the internet? I'm like, no. I'm like, you can watch regular TV. So what my daughter does, she turns on a streaming device that has regular TV channels on it, but not necessarily the regular like television channels. You just like with an antenna and a remote. And I'm like, Sarah, I said, didn't I say just to watch regular TV? And Violet's like, that is regular TV. Through the internet, though. I was trying to keep our, everything clean. I wanted to see what our stuff was doing, and yeah, long day.
I accidentally opened up Facebook on my computer earlier, and Danny looked over and he's like, what did you just open? And I was just like,
I'm like, didn't I say Facebook was the problem? And did you just open it?
I was like, oh, I didn't hear you say that.
And I had like fire come out of my mouth. She saw it. I was like, tech support can be sometimes so frustrating because did you do this? I'm like, yes, I did that. Did you do that? I did that. Did you do that? Yes. And then she explains the different steps. I'm like, I already know all those steps. I already did them. You don't have to explain every, move you're making. But I was frustrated for sure.
All right. While we calm down, let's get to some questions. If you have a sewing...
We're done. Internet just stopped.
If you have a sewing related question for me, a question about making bags, about a sewing tool, let me know in the comments and I'll answer as many questions as I can live. By the way, I'm wearing something handmade today. I made this a few years ago. It's the Linden sweatshirt by Grain Line Studios, and normally I don't go for like basic fabrics like this, but this is a really comfortable shirt, and yeah, it was a fun pattern to make. Kim says, will there be an updated pattern download for the Kennedy bag, as myself and many of the Australian group have the old one? Yes, when we come
They're
out
doing
with
a sew-along, by the way.
I knew they were,
okay.
yes. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, when we come out with the video, I will change all the uploads. I think I have the Kennedy bag uploaded to 2 different blog posts. I will change all of those to the new PDF file, and I'm not changing the step photos of the instructions. I just changed the pattern pieces to reflect in case you want to sew with cork or leather, and
I wonder if these ladies are like
that will be updated.
Our friends.
Jennifer says, I think Danny needs chocolate.
And the varying
and Cindy
2
says,
different platforms, Facebook and YouTube, so
Cindy
they can't
says,
see each other's comments.
Dan needs chocolate. Oh, I like Cindy's avatar too. She has the Disney villains on there. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh yeah, I do. Did
That's
not notice
cool.
it at first. No.
That's really cool. Well, you can have some chocolate here. I've got
I
some
think
chocolate
Jason
right
has
here.
a great idea.
Jason says, you should probably get a second internet line, Danny. Redundancy is the best solution to those kinds of problems.
Yes. I think it's a
sounds
great
interesting.
idea. Then I'll have it directly just from my own computer, and then I'll ever... Now, we have gigabit speed, so it's really never an issue of throttling our own.
All right, Tina has a question. Sarah, can you remind me of the model number of the Kai scissors you have, please? So the Kai scissors I have are model number 7205. I actually have 2 pairs because when we were renovating, I thought I lost my original pair, and so I bought another pair. But these are 7205. Mary says, is there a difference with the Juki 2000 and the Juki 2010 model aside from the price? I'm not sure if you meant the 2200. Maybe you did. So the main differences between the Juki TL 2010Q and the Juki 2200 QVP Mini. The QVP Mini is brick and mortar shop only, so just at your local quilt shop. The 2010 can be sold online. The 2200 also comes with additional feet. They look and work the same. The only visual difference is the QVP 2200 has like a blue stripe on the side, but other than that, they're the same thing, and I have them both. Julia says, is there a Kennedy bag sew-along? Is that what Danny was saying? So the Australian Sew Sweetness group is doing a sew-along for the Kennedy bag right now. That's the only one that I'm aware of that's doing the sew-along currently for that particular bag. Yeah.
Yeah, Kim says their answer.
Kim says, Julie Moore, our Australian group, is doing the sew-along. Yes. Nancy says, I can't get the flap on the Oriole bag to lie flat. I've made 2, now with the magnetic one with the twist. Did I put my I put my Oriole bags away. You know what I do sometimes with bags with a flap?
Do you want the one off? Let me dig it out?
No, it's okay because they're covered by other bags. What I do sometimes when I first make a bag with a flap, in order to get the flap to be more flat, is I kind of turn under the 2 corners and hold them with Wonder Clips, just the 2 corners, for a few hours. And then that seems to kind of give the foam interfacing a memory to kind of flip toward the inside so that it looks more flat. That's just what I personally do. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but next question is, do you ever use RFID in your purses? If so, would you use on the exterior or the lining piece? I've never used RFID fabric. If you're not familiar with that, it's a type of fabric that can protect electronic, I don't know how to describe it, protect someone from stealing your credit card number while you're out and about. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I was reading questions.
RFID fabric is a fabric that protects your credit card from being stolen when you're out and about. So that does that mean people have scanners to try to steal your number?
Yeah, you have a magnetic strip in your credit card, and they can sense it and mimic it and reproduce it into another card.
So the pictures that I've seen online explaining the RFID fabric, I've seen it used in the lining of the bag, and the ones I've seen, and I don't know if this is necessary or not, but I've seen an additional flap to cover all of the cards, again, made with the RFID fabric. I'm not sure if that flap is necessary or not, if your entire lining is made with that RFID fabric. I suppose I should get some and check it out. I'll write myself a note to do that. Michelle says, I need more coffee and chocolate today. Almost done sending names out. So close. So Michelle was hosting the Secret Santa swap, which actually just closed over the weekend for new signups. So everyone has a few weeks till December 1st to make their pouches for the swap. And I think she said that were there over 400 people joining in on the swap, which is really cool.
412.
I got my partner assignment today, so I'm really excited about that. I didn't answer Jennifer's question.
It was, what was the best bag for a sewing machine to fit and a table for the sewing machine?
Oh, okay. I've seen tons of airplane bags made for sewing machines. I know I have a photo on my phone of one of the Tula Pink Bernina machines inside an airplane bag. It's one of my favorite photos. But yeah, that's probably the best recommendation I can think of. Pamela says the 2000 has no speed control. The 2010 does. Oh, the 2000. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's correct about the speed control.
Yeah,
secondary tension knob and the speed control. Thank you guys for jumping in on that.
Do they both have automatic cutting of the thread?
Mine do. I don't know about the 2000 though. I'm not sure. I know the 2000 is a little bit less expensive than the 2010. Carla says, would it not be cool to have a pouch sew along based on a theme everyone would have to follow, be it a color theme, animal theme, and so on? Oh, that's a good idea for the club that I was talking about earlier, isn't it? Like a theme every month?
What club are you talking about?
Remember I was talking about that idea that I didn't tell you yet?
That was a meetup for the state meetups.
Yeah, but I originally used the term club. Maybe you missed that because you were looking for comments.
Yeah, but how does that get to do with having a sew along for... they're at their club, they're going to show what they made?
We could have it like a challenge every month, and that could be like...
They're entering to the drawing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You don't sound like you like that idea.
I don't know what you're talking about half the time.
Pat says, Sarah, does the Kennedy bag have a drop-in lining? It does not. So since it has a flap on it, you finish the bag by sewing your completed lining and your exterior right sides together along the top edge, and then you just leave an opening, usually in the bottom or in the bottom of a pocket if there's a zipper pocket, and you pull everything right side out. So no drop-in lining on that one. Cindy says, the Charm School wallet, I can't get the cam snaps to stay closed. I know in the Facebook group, Christina Fine was recommending the cam snaps with the long prongs. I'm not sure if you saw that thread or maybe you were participating in the thread. Also, I find when I'm installing snaps, either cam snaps or pearl snaps, I always try to make sure that I hit it with as much force as I can, just to make sure that the snaps are fully closed. Because I've had snaps in the past where I just kind of weakly installed the snap and then it opened up or the prongs came out later. So that's another thing that I always try to make sure that I pay attention to, that I'm giving it enough pressure when I install the snaps. Donna says, yes, I would like to know how to access the Aussie group as well. There is a document in the file section of the So Sweetness Facebook group. It's called Social Circles. I usually link to it in Social Sunday, actually. But you can find the full list of all the state and country groups, as well as the link to join the group. You can also usually, in the Facebook search, look for SSSP and then either the name of your state or country, and that will usually work to find it as well. So if you're looking for Australia, you could type in the Facebook search SSSP Australia. I think that'll do the trick. Diana says, I add RFID to the lining to all wallets and crossbody bags. I had the bank check it for me and it worked perfectly. Oh, that's really cool.
Here's an interesting counterpoint.
Casey says, agreed. I work for Capital One, and with chips, it's unnecessary. Still a good selling point for people, though. That's very interesting.
That's true, because they have the chips and credit cards now. So if you don't have that chip, you're not using. You can't mimic their credit card.
I wonder if that's why chips were created.
Could very well
possibly.
be. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. I did not know that. Very interesting. Kyla says, is there a November Minikins challenge? There is. It's the Trifle Tumbler, and it's up on my blog. So that's sosweetness.com/blog, and it'll be one of the more recent listings in there, and that's for the Trifle Tumbler. Teresa says, Danny's face looked like he ate something sour when she talked about the club again. It's because sometimes when I think of ideas, it usually involves a little bit of, usually work on his part as well, and sometimes I just have crazy ideas, so we'll just call it what it is. Let's see. Stephanie says, is there a way, however complicated, to have a sew-in lining for the disco? not a drop-in lining. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Stephanie's talking about the disco double zip pouch, which is part of Minikin season 2. I feel like I spent a good amount of time thinking that one through, and I couldn't think of a way. It has 2 separate linings that kind of connect on the inside. I couldn't think of a way to make that bag without the drop-in linings, unfortunately, but I always think it's a good skill to have. We had a couple drop-in linings in Minikin season 1, and I feel like there's 2 camps for drop-in linings. Either people hate them or people don't mind doing them. So it doesn't seem like there's a gray area in between, but I don't know. I feel like it's a useful skill to have, knowing how to put those into. Adrian says, is there a rivet press that works with cam snaps? So I have a separate press for my cam snaps. Where is it? It's back there behind me. I'm afraid to... My sewing area under my desk is kind of like that closet where you have all the stuff jammed in there. When you open the closet, everything comes falling out. That's kind of what the situation is underneath my desk where the presses are. And so I'm almost afraid to reach for them in case all the stuff comes falling out. Cheryl says, cam snaps are tricky. If you use too much pressure, they spread, then they don't work at all. There's a combination to those snaps. I usually figure it out after I've wasted a few on scrap fabric. Yeah, that's a good point. I always test them first on scrap fabric. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I wish there was a better answer. Laura says, why the 1/2-inch seam for interior bottom of the picnic cooler as opposed to the 1/4 inch everywhere else? So sometimes for the linings, depending on the pattern, I use a larger seam allowance for the lining to get it to fit inside the exterior more snugly. And I found when I tried to use 1/2-inch for my entire lining, it didn't work out because everything didn't fit to the lid. It was just too tight to fit everything together. But I used a bigger seam allowance for the parts that I could, so if that makes sense. Patricia says, your crazy ideas have created so sweetness for everyone. Thank you. I do admit that they are crazy and they usually wake me up in the middle of the night. But I usually feel like if an idea wakes me up in the middle of the night, it's generally been a good idea. Like the Minikins were often those wake up in the middle of the night type of ideas. If my chip doesn't work after the 3rd time, I can swipe and it does work. Oh, that's a good point.
That'd be a counterpoint. Yeah.
That's a good counterpoint for
why
you would want to use the RFID fabric. Jennifer says, is the Sloan travel bag large enough to fit a sewing machine and table? I don't know. I guess it would depend. I'm not sure if it's a featherweight type size of sewing machine. If that's the case, I think it would fit. I'm not sure about the table, though. I admit I have not. My sewing machines both came with tables, and I never used them. So logistically, I'm just not sure in my head how big my table is since I never use it. Bobby says, I have trouble envisioning what my final project would look like. What kind of fabric goes with what? Any tips? I often spend, I could say probably hours choosing fabric for projects. Sometimes I get Danny to help me. But since I use large-scale prints in a lot of projects, it's really hard because depending on the bag, like Danny helped him pick the fabric for this bag, the combinations at least. I had a really hard time with this one. I really struggled with this one, I remember. I usually try to fit the size of the design on the bag, if that makes sense. So like, for instance, a really huge Tula Pink print, like the one with the unicorns that I used recently, it wouldn't fit on something like this. It would be cut off in a lot of places. So this is sort of a medium scale print that I used for this one. I would just say check out your pattern instructions first, read through the pattern instructions so you're familiar with how all the pieces come together. And then that might help you better choose what types of prints will fit better on that bag, unless you're using a small print or a solid, and then I guess in that case it won't matter as much. Mary Grace says, Cam Snaps makes a great table press that works on both plastic cam and rivets, camsnaps.com. Thank you for the link to that website. And then Glum says, this chat is so warm and friendly that my laptop just overheated and shut down. Oh no, that doesn't sound very good. I don't know. Does that sound like a restart type of issue?
No,
like
it's
just got really hot and shut down?
Laptops can sometimes do that.
Oh, this is a good question. And I don't know the answer to this, but maybe some of you watching do. Adrian says, does the Gold Star set cam snaps? I don't have a Gold Star press, but if anybody watching on Facebook or YouTube does and knows the answer, feel free to let us know in the comments, and hopefully Danny can catch it and post it on the screen. Hope says, how would I figure out the side panel of a Baker Street if I increase the pattern size? That's a really good question. So, a lot of times increasing or enlarging a pattern, you could do one of two different things. You could either draw, since my patterns don't have pattern pieces for squares or rectangles, you could draw out the squares and rectangles and enlarge them on your scanner, or if you're taking it to a copy shop to have them enlarge it, have them enlarge everything to the same percentage, so the templates as well as the squares and the rectangles. Otherwise, you could just take your best guess. So for the example of the Baker Street bag, you could guess a certain length, and then just cut your fabric pieces a little bigger and try it out. Or what I usually do, oh, do I not have it in here?
While you're looking for that, Emily said buy 2 fabrics in the same line. They usually go together. That's a great idea.
Oh yeah, that is a great idea. I don't have any, I usually keep some trim, like finished bias tape in my sewing room. And let's pretend, I know this is not, but let's pretend this is the front of your Baker Street bag and you've enlarged it. I usually take my bias tape, because using the bias tape is good because it stretches a little bit, and often my fabric is stretching a little through the curves also. Taking the bias tape, just running it along the edge that the side panel will be going into, and then measuring how long that bias tape piece was. That'll give you a pretty good indication of what your side panel piece needs to be. And that's actually what I do myself when I'm trying to figure out designing patterns. I just take my little piece of, it's like a half inch finished bias tape. I just run it along the edge, measure it. I usually have to do tiny little adjustments, but that gives me a pretty good number how big my side panel needs to be. Gilda says, do you have free patterns? I do. On my website, if you go to sewsweetness.com, there's a few tabs at the top of the page. There's one tab for tutorials. If you want to hover over that, there's 2 listings under that tutorials tab that you want to pay attention to. One is for bags, and that's for full out patterns, and you can find the free patterns that way. And the one underneath that is called Bag Making Techniques, and those are free. Most of those are videos, free videos showing you how to do things like install purse feet, add a side pocket to any bag. So those 2 things under the tutorials tabs I would visit on a rainy day, and the free patterns are there as well. Jeff says, so how is William doing with the skateboard lessons? I'll let you answer that.
Well, he's not going to be starting them until about 2 weeks from now. Right, I think the weekend after Thanksgiving we found a place. That was the first available appointment, and I still have to call to get it set up because it's a suburb of Chicago, so I have to make an account, and I do it through the phone, and it's a process, but they said they had spots available, so he's going to start them. So
really funny thing about that, and I'm not sure if
I
she's
didn't want to
watching
say
tonight, but William, and this was just a happy coincidence, William had me order a particular skateboard that he wanted, so he left the link up on my computer. And
he follows these guys on YouTube, and that's the one they use. And
the company was called Revive Skateboards, and I actually got a call the following day. So I placed the order. The next day I got a call from Revive Skateboards, and it was from Barbara. And I thought it was some sort of problem with my order, or they were out of stock, or they had a question. Because sometimes when you place an order, they do call to ask you something. And she said that she was one of my bag ladies, and she said she watches the show, and her son co-owns the company, so that I thought that was a super happy coincidence.
Sarah screamed. I'm like, so must be one of her friends she hasn't talked to in a while or something. I'm like, what is going on over there?
I saw your face when I answered the phone, and you were looking over your shoulder like, who are you talking to, and why are you talking like that?
Yeah, I was like, something wrong? I thought something was wrong. Like it was a bad scream.
So we had a great conversation, and I thought it was so cool that William had chosen this company for his skateboard.
Yep.
And Barbara watches the show, so I thought that was really awesome.
Very cool.
Carlene says, I have a small design wall in my sewing room and put the fabrics together and look at it for a couple of days before making a decision. It just works for me. That's a really good idea. I don't know what your design wall is made out of, Carlene, but I know a lot of people use like white flannel or solid colored flannel and just tack it to their wall and use it as a design wall because the fabric will kind of stick to the flannel. I wish I had enough room to have a design wall in here, but it's just far too small in here. Stacy says, hi Sarah, I'm from South Australia. What foam interfacing do you recommend that's available in Australia? Thanks so much. So actually a lot of the same interfacings that I use in the United States under the Pellon brand are available in Australia under the Legacy brand. and Legacy is owned by Pellon, and that's just Pellon's version of interfacings in Australia. Again, it's called Legacy. As far as I'm aware, it's available at Spotlight stores. I don't know a whole lot about Spotlight, but it seems to be an Australian version of what we have in the United States, Joann's Fabrics. And the great thing about the Legacy brand in Australia is that most of the product names are the same. So like Legacy will have a Thermolam, Shape Flex, and a lot of the product numbers are the same or very similar as well. And they should have I'm assuming they should have a foam interfacing under the Legacy brand. I haven't checked into the Legacy brand lately, but since we have the Pellon Flex Foam, I'm assuming the Legacy brand has their version of the Flex Foam. Sherry says, yes, the Gold Star sets cam snaps. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you very much, Sherry. Lely says, Sarah, do you sew with the straight stitch foot on your machine? You know what? Now that I think of it, I don't know the official name of the foot that I always use on my machine, and my machine's not on the desk. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that because I just call it my regular foot. Oh, Diane has a... Let's see. Diana says, if you are wondering about prints and bags, the use of the acrylic templates is helpful as you can lay the template on the fabric to see how the print will fit on the panel. Then just purchase another fabric from the line to coordinate. Oh, that's a really good idea. I didn't think about that.
It's a great idea.
Natalie says, Stacy, are you on the Australian SSSP group? We have just recently had a chat about that. Oh, very good. Thank you, Natalie, for popping up. I'm assuming that was in regards to the interfacing. Another reason to join one of the So Sweetness state or country groups, particularly the Australia one if you're in Australia. Susan says, what are you making with the blue material? I just got the pink version. So this is what I'll be using for my Kennedy bag when we shoot the video, and I chose navy cork fabric. I had a hard time. I really wanted to go with like a coordinating like this green fabric, but I didn't have, the cork wasn't like a close match. So I ended up going with navy, which there's kind of navy in the shading.
Did you cut the cork yet?
I didn't cut the cork yet, no.
I think you should do like bright pink.
Like fuchsia? But
maybe light blue even.
But there's no pink in the fabric.
Yeah, that orangish.
But it's orange.
Orangish colors.
It's like neon orange.
Maybe the glitter vinyl you have. When we'll make an edit.
I wanted it. I wanted
I don't know about navy.
I know this is not super masculine, but I wanted it not to be my usual like pink and flowers. I don't know. I was just trying to give it, because it's a messenger bag, less of a feminine look, I guess. Julia says, Sarah, can you give me the type of wool ironing mat you have? So, here's the ironing mat. It's a 17-inch wool mat, and what's the company that makes these? I do not remember. We have them up on the website, though, and we have them in several different sizes. This is the 17-inch. We have the 13-inch and the 8.5-inch as well. Oh gosh, the company name is escaping me right now, though. Deb says, I sent my son the link to your slip stitch tutorial. He needed to fix a pair of his pants. He was so impressed on how well you explained things. Oh, awesome. I'm glad that tutorial was good for something else besides bag making. I didn't even think about that for hemming. Kim says, so now we know where you got the name for your Cumberland backpack. Oh, yes. So the postal address that I have for sending birthday postcards is on Cumberland, which is the major street that we live off of. I often name bag patterns after streets or concert venues or song titles, so that's a common thing for me. Alicia says, would sandwiching PUL between cotton work, or does it need to be the lining or exterior? That's interesting. I've used it before for lunch bags because it's waterproof, but I've used it as my lining fabric. I'm not sure what you were intending to use it for, but in the lunch bags that I made before in the past, I used the PUL fabric for my lining fabric, and then I used, since it was a lunch bag, insulated fleece next, that pairing for the lining. That's what I used it in the past for. Sandra says, Sarah, we need... Oh, that one went by too fast.
Man, Sarah, you're too slow.
Was it something about a dog?
Yes, a dog carrier. Said, we know you can totally do it.
A dog carrier.
No, someone else said a bunny, dog, cat carrier. Come up with one. I'll pull it back up as you answer this one.
No. My parents suggested that in the past also, and I do definitely want to do a dog carrier. I'm wondering about the mesh, though, because the mesh that I use in bags, I know pet carriers that I've seen in the store have like a coated mesh, like for the windows, if that's what you want to call it. So I'm not sure if like a sturdier. Oh, there we go. Sandra says, Sarah, we need you to come up with a dog carrier. Come on, girl, you can do it. Actually, I know I can, and that is just the kind of challenge that I like because I'm already picturing it in my mind, and it's not a simple cotton candy pouch. It's like very detailed, and that's the kind of thing I like the best. Anne says, when your patterns call for a 1/4 inch seam allowance, is that an actual 1/4 inch or a quilter's 1/4 of an inch? So I'm not sure if you meant a scant 1/4 of an inch. I'm using a 1/4 of an inch, but if you're using, what's the word? If you're using the same increments all along, you'll be fine. What word am I trying to go for?
Wasn't paying attention. I was reading.
Okay.
I'm here sometimes, but I'm reading.
I know you're not ignoring me. Yeah. I know you're looking for
comments I am
actually
to put on the screen. You. And it feels good, to be honest. Not gonna lie.
I think what I meant to say, as long as you're using consistent increments, so if you're using the scant 1/4 of an inch, as long as you use it for everything, instead of the regular 1/4 of an inch, you'll be fine. That's what I was looking for.
I think you addressed that already, though.
Diane says, how about green? What was this?
Probably about your coordinating.
Oh, green for this? Yeah. I don't know. It's such a tough call. Chartreuse. I could see the grass green going with that, too. Chartreuse. I don't know.
That's why I thought like a bright green, but I know we don't have.
This was a tough call. I really wanted to use this particular fabric, but the coordinating color is escaping me. Oh, Cheryl says, so where did Sublime come from? The band Sublime, which was from, the 90s? In my earlier high school life, I listened to a lot of punk bands and, like, indie type stuff. Connie says, pet carriers need to use a type of screening. That's what I was looking for instead of mesh. I don't think mesh is a good idea for the pet carrier. Karen says, you can get the dog carrier mesh at the hardware store. I did not know that.
Nope, did not know that either.
That makes me really excited because I like finding alternate uses for things. Hardware
store. People are different mesh.
The mesh can be purchased at Joann's in the utility fabric. Oh, that's really cool. I bet it's really cheap at the hardware store too. Clovis says, what is the name of the pattern for your sweatshirt? This is the Linden sweatshirt, and the pattern company is Grain Line Studios.
It's consistent the word you're looking for?
Consistent, yes.
They were all over.
Thank you, everybody.
And give everyone credit.
I feel like I'm a strong writer, but on the live shows, when I'm sort of speaking off the cuff and have to come up with words for specific things, like sometimes I struggle with that. I don't know. I'm sure it's the introvert in me, talking to however many people are watching the show. I do get nervous still. Diana says, Sarah, I'm getting ready to take a class with a coated mesh. When I do, I'll send you the name and the info. Oh, thank you very much, Diana. Ooh, I'm excited about the carrier. Mary says Danny seems grumpy tonight.
It's not just tonight.
No, he was super stressed out pretty much all day.
I don't think I'm grumpy tonight, though. I got a sour look like I ate something sour. Remember before? It's like everyone's like, Danny, you're not having fun. You're ignoring Sarah. I'm trying to focus. I have to really...
if you could see how fast the comments and questions come through, and it's questions mixed with comments, so he has to search out the questions since we're looking to post questions on the screen mostly. And it's going by lightning fast. Like, they're moving down, moving off the page. It's super fast. Just picture however fast you see the comments coming through wherever you're watching. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, he gets both Facebook and YouTube in the same screen, so it's like double fast.
And also, they don't just do it like instantly. So it's like a 5-second block or a 10-second block. Then they put all the 10-second comments at one group, then it pushes them all down. Then, yeah.
Or maybe we just need to do a song and dance before the show like we did the other day when we did the baby shark dance. Well, I didn't. Maybe you need to do the song and dance with me before the show.
I'm not in a bad mood. I'm not angry. I'm not yelling. I don't see... I see a lot of... I don't know what that means, RBF.
Tara says, Danny's fine. He just has the male version of RBF. Yeah, what is RBF? Teresa says Danny does a great job.
Questions in all caps. The problem is they just cycle so fast. And I like to read comments too because sometimes there may be a problem with the audio or the video. And if I don't read them, I'm not going to, know there's an issue. Sarah, what's your favorite go-to bag to use every day?
Becky, you know what? I was thinking about this when I was getting ready the other morning. Becky says, what is your favorite go-to bag that you use every day? So I actually don't, and I stopped doing this maybe a couple years ago. I stopped using bags that I made. Of course, if it's like an occasional thing, like going to the park or something, yeah, I like using the Cumberland backpack. But for everyday use, I use a store-bought bag, and people ask me that occasionally, people that know that I sew, why I use a store-bought bag and not one of the ones that I make. And the reason that I used to give was that I didn't want people to know that I sew because I didn't want to be asked to like hem pants or something like that. But the other day I realized that that's not the real reason. And I don't know if you'll understand this, but because sewing is also my work, and I could say I work every day. There's really not a day where I don't do any work. So I'm working every day, and I feel often that I need some sort of...
That's what that stands for. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh,
I see a lot of them. I thought they're all saying that to me like, wow, I'm sorry.
That's my mom, too. Thanks, Mom. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I need some sort of work-life separation, and having a handmade bag, even the best time that I can have personal space is when we leave the house because we work from our home. And if I have a handmade bag with me when I leave the house, I almost feel like I don't have, I'm not able to step away from work because I might look at the bag and like be like, oh, I didn't do a good job on this part or that part or whatever have you. So I think that's the real reason why I need to have a store-bought bag as my everyday bag, because in my mind, I just need a break sometimes. I love sewing and I love what we do. I love the videos, but I just need some separation sometimes so that when I do come back to work, I can do a good job and not feel stressed out. I mean, everyone feels stressed out sometimes, but hopefully that makes sense. Stacy says, have you seen the needle holder called a MyPad? It has the types and sizes of machine needles printed on it to keep track of your needles when you switch between sizes. I have not, but that sounds super cool. Maybe something for the Notion section on Social Sunday. I'll have to investigate that. I love getting recommendations, by the way. That hot ruler that I showed on Sunday, that was a recommendation, and I really appreciate it because I can't have eyes everywhere. And so thank you for the recommendations, as always. Mary Lee says, have you considered putting fabric direction arrows for cutting? I actually haven't. I know it's really important for garment sewing to have the fabric direction arrows for the grain, because for garments you generally need to cut with the grain going a certain way. I have not for my pattern pieces, although I do orient the text on my pattern pieces so that as you're reading it, that's the direction your piece should lay on your fabric as you're cutting it out, if that makes sense. Hanny says, do you use the cotton candy size small to hold anything? What are they? So I have them behind me, the 3 sizes. So here's the size small of the cotton candy. So you can fit, it'll fit pens inside. The medium's probably my favorite size. Just visually, I like how that one looks. And large is pretty big. I've seen some people make the large into a small bag by adding side tabs and a strap on the large. But I super love the medium one.
These are great for like little bags. Honestly, put the straps, boom.
Ooh, I'm about to sneeze.
Get away.
It went away.
I thought we were doing the challenge or something, or like dabbing back up.
No, because I know when I cough, when I'm on the mic.
Oh
it's super loud.
I have my headphones on, and then she's coughing or mostly clearing her throat. It's like, and my ears like. You should see the mic. The levels really go loud. Like crazy red and stuff. Like, Sarah, do you know how loud it is? Like, please, not in your microphone.
I'm a chronic throat clearer. I just can't help it. I think it's a nervous thing. All right. So that's it for the questions. I'm sorry if we didn't get to your question, but we'll be back again next Tuesday. Actually, next Tuesday I have a guest. It's not Tula Pink. Although I
Wow, that was a fast.
although I hope to have
reaction.
her on soon, but I have a plan for that, and so I need a little bit more time. But we have a guest next Tuesday on the show. I'm really excited about that. I don't want to spill the beans. It'll be a surprise until the show next Tuesday. But thank you so much for joining me for Ask Sarah. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you again on Sunday. Happy sewing.
Bye, everyone.